Okay, so like with the dirt, there's a trifecta, right? There's the adventure, there's the ingredient, and then there's a human. That's where my curiosity starts. My name's Kate West. I am the director of Huckberry Presents and the director and producer of Dirt, our adventure travel show.
The origins of Dirt are that Kate West reached out to me, direct message on Instagram. I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but we worked together in New York. And we worked together on this great thing called Stoked Mentoring, which was bringing inner city kids to the mountain or to the ocean or to skate parks to skate and outfitting them in gear. But she's like, I've got this new thing I'm working on.
And we started spitballing and this idea of finding people who are connected to the land and creating adventure through that. And so we sort of came up with this idea that we'd go to a place, we'd meet a chef, and we'd gather ingredients and cook everything up at the end. And then sort of it's organically evolved with each episode.
The first episode of Dirt is in Seattle, and I think that was a great place to start for me because that's my backyard.
Well, Josh and I pitched Japan. We were like, we gotta go to Japan. And Ben was like, hard no. You have basically no budget. So it was obvious just to do it in Josh's backyard of Seattle. And we did it in like sort of the off season, which was cool. And that shoot was wild. Everyone was hungry the whole time. No one sort of knew what they were doing, you know? But then when I got that first edit back from David at Workshirt, and it just was like, holy shit, this is gonna work.
I mean, I've never done anything like this, and I don't know how it works. And I think there's also something nice about that is like, we've all never done this, sort of, right? Like this is our first go at this type of thing. And so we are all sort of making it up as we go along.
Even the scrappy independent films I worked on had like a crew of at least 30 people on set. Usually it's just 4 of us. So it's myself and Josh, and then there's Workshirt. And they're sort of this Swiss Army knife of shooting audio, shooting stills, flying drone, driving a car. Like they're incredible. There's like 2 components of Workshirt. One is that they're like mountain kids. They grew up in the mountains making homemade skate and snowboard videos. And I love the pacing of that. Separate from like their cinematic expertise, it's like their curiosity. We all sort of flex at different times, right? So it's like I flex in pre-pro. Wade is like sort of this insane Swiss Army knife on set. He's the equipment guy, right? Making sure the equipment fucking works. And then like in post-production, David is like where he's really flexes, you know, in terms of just the amount of time and care and precision he puts into these edits. Josh flexes with each character and bringing his personality to it, and physically, he's really pushed.
My job is sort of to be myself, which is an incredible opportunity. I hope everybody gets that at some point in their lives. But Wade and David at Workshirt and Kate and myself have this similar energy and curiosity. Differences, of course, but essentially like we'll keep going until we've found what we want to find.
You can tell a story about a place, but no one knows a place better than the people that live there and love it, right? So you find that person and you find that passion for a place and you hold on to it, and then it sort of like organically unfolds. And it happened in Ireland that way. Jess in Ireland, she was like, you know, you can look through Google all you want or Instagram all you want, but let me tell you the true story. It's these eccentric crab fishermen out on the Aran Islands. And I think a lot of places are misrepresented, and so people are excited to tell their story of a place.
It's one of those things that like you just trust. I mean, you just get some incredible backstories about how people ended up where they are.
So you are a butcher,
Yeah.
a restaurateur,
Yeah.
and your other job is a surgeon.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a general surgeon.
I find that to be incredibly interesting.
When we were in Kyushu, the opening scene is a yam farmer who was talking about Shintoism. I thought we were just getting yams from this guy. And he sort of explained how Shintoism and the connection to the earth and how that creates the connection to the food, and what you eat is just so indicative of the place. It was one of those moments where I got goosebumps all over my body, and I was like, that's dirt, right? Like, that's like the whole point of the show. We're all connected.
The interview with Killer Mike was really cool because he just shows up, has the most amazing conversation almost that I've ever had with anyone, and then just bounces, and you're like, that's how that's how I envision that life being. And so it was cool to like peek in. You know you have a finite time with these people, so what can you extract? What information can you extract, and how can you get to know as much as you can about what they're up to in a short period of time?
Who gets to say every day is an adventure?
So, what's your typical day like?
It's really intense. When you see the show, it looks really cruisy, and the music is cruising, and we're just driving. But in that car that you see cruising is like someone I've been driving for like 4 hours and like on my 4th coffee.
And everyone's threatening to quit. No, the days are insanely long.
We get up at the crack of dawn. We usually see someone early because farmers, makers are oftentimes up very early.
We try to see at least 2 people in one day, and then have like at least like 2 adventures along the way. And we also have to leave room for B-roll of place.
I think it's like if you've ever run a marathon, in the end, in reflection, you're like, oh, I'm so glad I did that. But there are moments in it where you're like, this is insane, and I'm in pain. I'm in physical pain because I've been going so hard and so long, whatever it is.
You know, Wade and Dave start by prepping all their gear. They get up before us. They shoot all day on various cameras, Sony's, drone, stills. And it's also, they can all do all that, and they can also carry it into the fucking backcountry. They're never like, no, like that's too far. If Josh wants to jump off a cliff, cross these like live railroad tracks in New York City that's 100 feet tall, you know, like they're gonna figure out how to get that drone shot, and they're also gonna position themselves on a cliff to get the side profile shot, and it's insane.
It's like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Ginger Rogers did everything Fred Astaire did, but backwards in heels. It's like the boys are like backwards in heels, right? They're doing the same thing that we're doing, but they're doing it with the rig. They're always in, fully in.
They love to learn about oyster farming or different artists we've worked with. I mean, I think the beauty of Dirt is like we're all learning as we're going. I've learned so much. We all like didn't really know what we were doing. It just felt right to us. This was just like intuitive, like the way that we worked together as a team. But it hits. Jet lag's like so real. Japan was so hard. You know, we like hit the ground running. And I think that Tokyo edit, I actually was like in the brief to the editor, I wanted to feel like that like jet lag stupor. There's so much adrenaline and dopamine on these shoots because you're learning so much and meeting so many people, and we have this finite time and we're excited, you know? So like that really keeps you going, I think, you know?
So the end of every episode, at the final meal, I make a cocktail, and the chef and I and the crew and everybody, and we have this drink. And it's a moment of reflection. It's that moment of like, that was, you know, the end of the marathon. You made it. You got through it. You had these moments where you were like, you know, the truck was stuck in the sand and you're in the middle of the desert and you're like, AAA's not coming, you know, 40 miles into the desert.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry, I didn't know he's pulling.
You go through these processes, and then at the end, you're like, I can't imagine not doing any of that, right? But you always go back. You know, you're always excited for the next one.
Everyone always asks, everyone's like, how are you gonna make this a 35-minute episode? I don't know, we do.
My dear friend who makes documentaries said that in the editing process, you die and then are reborn. And I didn't fully understand until I was watching our editing process, and you realize how much work it takes and how every detail is scrutinized. And so it's a process.
This is where David and I's minds like really connect. He's my total thought partner. David and I talk probably 4 hours a day, every day. It's like that middle school when you forget you're on the phone with someone, you know? And then like you're like eating dinner with your family and you're like, wait, why am I still on the phone with this person? I would say our post-production process is really unique, and it's always been hard when we hand it off to other editors because they're like, what? This is insane. And you should see the Google Doc at the end of each one of these. Like, it was the Google Doc of a Mad Woman.
Find yourself perfectionists and stick with them, because David won't let and Kate won't let things out into the world until they feel like they are exactly right. And I'm so grateful for that, because it's this beautiful product in the end.
David sends me an edit at probably 6 in the morning, and I watch it probably at 7 in the morning. You know, you just know. I feel that with every episode, and I like calm. I'm like, you fucking did it. You know, we did it. It's there. It's there. You could tinker forever, right? But what I care about, and like I know that I've done a good job, is if like the characters in the episode are proud of how they've been represented. And then I'm like, okay, my work is done. And like, that's what I care about.
I tell my mom to read the YouTube comments because it brings such joy. It's like people really like it. People really are having an experience that is positive. And I think that's part of what the show is meant to be, like a celebration of life.
That's the beauty of food, right? Is like everyone loves food. It's a human connecting device. People are so accessible, and like the world is so accessible, and you just have to dig a little and like go off the tourist path.
Just walk out your door and play and discover, and it's always available to you.
Go out and explore in your own way and connect with locals, you know? Start with a restaurant, look where they source their produce from, and then go find a farmer.